Good. So welcome everyone to our monthly My Speaker Business community call. And everyone that's been here before knows that this is your time, your space to get top hands-on tips from our fabulous, amazing guest experts that we are inviting every month. And not just hints and tips, but really hints and tips that you can apply right away. And you can ask your own personal questions. And the way we are doing it today is that please, you can type your questions into the chat. Everyone should be familiar with Zoom, so type them into the chat. Or at the end of our call as well, we're going to be checking all your questions also verbally. Okay, if there's anything you want answered, you don't want to forget as we go through it, you can type them into the chat, and we're going to give you some space at the end of the call as well so that you can ask your questions there. So please don't hold back with asking questions, because we want to give you anything you need to make your speaking business flourish further. This is also a perfect place for you to meet others from our previous community. So it's a space for you to exchange with others and also get help and support from others on your own high priority projects. So at the end of the call, we'll give you a little bit of space to also say, is there something going on your side that we should be aware of, or that we could support you with. And you know, I know here in Europe it's lunchtime more or less. Okay, so we're going to take a lunch break. I know in Marjorie, who got up very early for all of us, our guest today, it's morning. You know, we have often Asians with us, where it's going to be the evening. So just simply take a break and have fun with us. Okay, so every month we invite an incredible guest, and we cover a topic that we know is going to help you to step up with your speaking. And today the topic could not be chosen better, because we're going to talk about how you prepare for surprises on stage and in life. And I think all of us are going actually through an exceptional period of time right now. And I'm not going to say the word that is starting and ending every conversation right now, but you know what I'm talking about. So there are things happening that sometimes take all our plans and wipe them out, right? So we are living in a moment of uncertainty, and all I'm saying is that we are all speakers. We embrace these times as an opportunity. And at the end of the call, I'll also mention a few things that I have planned that you can actually tap into to really go through these times and share your voice, share your message in the most powerful ways, by being the leader, the thought leader, the change maker, and the inspirer that you are as a speaker in your business. But our call today is all about how to prepare for surprises on stage and in life. And really, many people believe that you can prepare for the unexpected, and the answer is yes, you can. And I don't want to introduce the topic much further, but once you do deal with the unexpected on stage and in life, you're going to thrive as a speaker with your business and in many other ways. And we invited a very special friend of mine today to share with us a concrete, proven process and steps of how you can actually prepare for the unexpected and thrive in unexpected times in the most powerful ways. And she's really an amazing lady. She is a successful generational wealth coach. She's also an entrepreneur, she's an author, she's a dynamic international motivational speaker with more than 10 years experience in the field of speaking, training, coaching, and how to really harvest and create breakthrough success. And she's the respected author of Fork Disease, Go Vegan, and the author of the upcoming book, One Law to Amazing Abundance in Every Area of Your Life. I mean, I can't wait for this book to come out and to read it as well. So she takes great pride in developing both leaders and champions. Her messages and concepts really help people to grow to the next level, as she inspires an atmosphere of greatness in the life she connects with on a daily basis. She's also an international attorney, so she knows how to deal with the unexpected, right? And she's the owner of what she calls AWA, Amazing Women of Abundance. She's also an expert at energizing and inspiring people to fully utilize their potential fully, and in themselves and others. And she's a world traveler. We've met in different places already. So she's a world traveler like I am. That's probably why we resonate so much with each other. She has worked with governments, domestic multinational corporations, and nonprofits in many countries, including the US, Greece, London, Germany, Czech Republic, Sweden, and Norway. And right now she's actually calling in from the US, and we are blessed that she is taking the time to get out of bed early to be with us. And really her biggest love is taking the stage to deliver messages of hope, endurance, and transformation to women and also men all over the world. So give a wholehearted welcome me to Marjorie Simon-Meinefeld. Marjorie, it's amazing to have you with us today. Welcome. Why don't you come and join me on stage and take over the stage and share with us how can we get prepared for the unexpected on stage and in life.
Well, thank you, Monique, for that amazing introduction. Greatly appreciate it. Love it, love it, love it. It's always wow when you hear about yourself. You're like, ooh, so it's pretty cool. Thank you. And I'll start by saying, first of all, thank you all for being here from all over the world. I'm super excited to share this moment with you and all of the people that will be tuning in later via recording. Each and every one of us has the ability to prepare for the unexpected. And so many people are afraid to speak, are afraid to be thrown off guard, or afraid, just afraid. But you can prepare for the unexpected. And what I look at is life is a series of dares. You know, I dare myself to be brave. Today, every year, I name my year. In 2020, I named my year of being brave. And so I've been daring myself every day to do something brave, something adventurous. And DARES is actually the acronym that I use in impromptu speaking. As a Toastmaster international speaker, we have contests and we go forward and up and up and up, and we compete higher levels against people from across different countries. And I actually did this several times successfully using what I'm going to share with you, just 5 steps. And so we'll go through that really quickly, and I'll show you that process. I'll explain a little bit about how that translates off stage and some other unexpected things on stage as well. And then we're going to play. We're going to have some fun where each of us gets to actually practice what I'm saying, because who wants to just hear me talk, blah, 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 blah. We want to actually play. So we're all big kids. All right, so let's see. The first D, dares, disturb them. A lot of times I hear speakers, they get on stage and they're just like, ah, okay, I'm here. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. I'm so glad to be here with all of you. Let's see what I'm going to talk about today. No. You want to come on stage in a big way. And it doesn't matter what the question is. In impromptu speaking, we think that there's no structure. We think that there's no way to do it properly, and you're just flying by the seat of your pants, but that's not the case. There's actually a structure, just like in a prepared speech. In a prepared speech, you have your opening, you have your middle, you have your closing, you have your key points. It's the same thing in impromptu speaking. So if somebody asks a question, let's say, matter of fact, Monique, can you unmute yourself? And we're going to actually do it through an example because it's easier to see that way. Ask me a question about, and matter of fact, make it about anything you want, not necessarily something you think I know about, just anything. Just ask me a question.
Okay, so I mean, everyone seems to be an expert on this topic right now. Why, what about you?
What about, what says, ask me the question?
So what makes you the expert?
What is happening right now? What is going on? There are so many unexpected things. I look left, I look right, and everything I planned is not there. What makes me the expert? Ladies and gentlemen, I am the expert at the unexpected because Life is all about the unexpected. And last time I checked, I'm still alive. I have a pulse. So what makes me the expert is that I've practiced what I preach. I love what I teach. And in doing this, I'm able to reach more and more and more people. And that's what makes me the expert. Now, what I did was I started answering her question again, disturb them. I didn't say, let me repeat the question and think about it. I paused for a moment. There's nothing wrong with a pause. There's nothing wrong with silence. A lot of speakers are afraid of silence, are afraid of taking a breath, are afraid of not knowing an immediate response. You don't need to do that. We don't need to do that. We can actually just go and think in our head, what makes me the expert is her question. So the first thing I went is, oh my God, left, right, I don't know what's happening. It's so unexpected, it's so shocking. Now, all of a sudden you're like, what is she talking about? I disturbed your immediate peace, your immediate continuity with what you knew may happen. That immediately gets people's attention. It doesn't always have to be big and dramatic. It could be something innocuous like, there are 5 million ways to make an egg. And I'm going to show you all of them in 30 seconds. You know, it could be something weird like that, that just gets their attention and then goes into your answer. The A in DARE stands for address your audience. You know, people love to be seen. They love to be heard. We're all special. We're all unique. We're all important. And so addressing the people that you're talking to, whether it's one-on-one, in a small group, or in a large group, I feel is very, very important. It shows respect. It shows that you care, that they're there. And we're not talking at somebody. We're having a conversation. I've given trainings with speakers where they were, or potential speakers where they were afraid to speak on stage. And one of the things that I share is, if we remember that it's not about us, this is a conversation. Even if you're just speaking one outwards and they're not speaking back, it's still a conversation. And so addressing the audience, acknowledging them, helps you to remember that you're amongst friends. And even if you don't know who you're speaking with, it's just friends you haven't met yet. and especially, you know, right now, we're even embracing technology even more and connecting via technology with friends we haven't met yet in amazing new ways going forward for quite a while, which is very exciting. Now, R is respond. A lot of us don't actually listen to the question that's asked. And so what we want to do is actually answer the question asked. Even if you don't know the answer to that question, address it. In contests, with impromptu speaking, a lot of people actually lose points in the scoring because they don't actually address the question asked. But this is not just for a contest, this is in real life as well. If a friend of yours comes to you and they say, you know, I was wondering if we could have lunch today. And you look at them and you go, you know, I had went to work yesterday and this happened at work, and then I came home, and then tomorrow I think I'm going to, all right, I'll see you later. They're looking at you going, wait a minute, you didn't answer my question. Can you please answer what I asked you? Can we have lunch today? You know, and so sometimes we forget to actually listen to what's being asked and answer it. So A in DARES is answer the question. So disturb them, address the audience. R, respond to the question that's asked. And E is explain. Now, you want to support your answers with actual explanations. And it doesn't have to be anything that's long or drawn out or detailed, but my suggestion is give yourself 3 supporting, it's kind of like a 3-point stool. Give yourself 3 points to support your answer. Without going into detail, because I wanted to get the information quickly to you so we can play, I answered Monique's. She said, "Why are you the expert?" And I gave her 3 reasons why I am the expert. I talked briefly about because I practiced this. I have gotten experience winning with this strategy. I love doing it, and I see other people win with this strategy. And so I talked about, I forget my 3rd point, but I gave 3 points on it. And that's key, explain. Sometimes we will give an answer and don't have anything to back it up. Even if it's not necessarily factual information, sometimes in an unexpected question situation, we may not know why we are answering, we may not have the facts, let's say. You actually know stuff. So draw on what you know already. If you really are in a situation with an impromptu speaking situation where you don't know an answer, it's okay to say so. I don't know the specifics of that, but here's what I do know. And with that, I will get back to you. If you're off stage, of course. On stage, you go with what you know. And so that is E, explain your answer. And then S in dares is for shut up. No, I'm just kidding. It's not. S is for summarize. I say shut up because a lot of times I've seen myself in the past and some speakers kind of drone on and on and on and on. And they lose the oomph that they had in their initial answer. Instead, summarize and go back to, and that is why I'm the expert. I love what I do. I've seen the results I bring with this strategy. And I love seeing other people be able to win with that strategy. And that's what makes me the expert, because we win when we dare to speak in impromptu speaking. So something like that, summarize quickly. And so again, as you see, speakers, it's just the same as a structured speech. You have your opening, you have your main point, you have your body that supports your main point, and you have your conclusion. So just because you don't know the answer that's coming doesn't mean that there's not a structure that you can use in order to answer that. So before we go forward and practice and play, let's start now. Are there any questions on this? No? Okay. All right, so let's play. Who would like to try an impromptu question? Who wants to be daring? D, disturb. A, address the audience. R, respond to the question asked. E, explain your answer. And S, summarize quickly. Who would like to try?
I think the question is, who in here feels that sometimes when you are in a conversation or when you are on stage or when you are speaking to a client, they're saying something that you don't know how to answer it?
Yeah.
If you have that situation, this is the perfect opportunity for you to actually say, hey, this is what my clients say, or this is the answer, these are the questions I sometimes get when I'm on stage, or this is the situation I'm facing.
Yeah.
I guess
a lot of times when we're on stage, we are also sometimes afraid to have audience interaction because we never know what the audience is going to say to us. And so we stand out there with our prepared speech and we don't ask the audience any questions, don't allow them to ask us any questions. Heaven forbid if we look foolish or we don't know the answer or we appear to not be the expert or have it all together. But we're human and it's okay. And there's nothing wrong with that. And that's actually was a lot of fun. I love the unexpected. I've grown to love it. And also you can prepare for the unexpected in other ways. In a lot of the speeches, impromptu speeches that I've given, I've prepared, I've practiced answering questions that I didn't necessarily prepare for. I've learned quotes, I've memorized quotes, I've memorized miniature stories that I use. which is also very helpful. And I gave one speech I answered a question on stage I think it was in Czech Republic. And I remembered a story that I learned about an explorer who took his soldiers somewhere and they burnt the ships. We all know the little phrase, burn the ships, and so that you just go forward and don't retreat. And I told this story on stage in answering this question because I remembered the story. And this is just as an example. So quotes, stories, the things that you've read, your personal stories, stories of other people. These are all great resources for you to use in impromptu speaking, in giving your answers. So, and then not even just in answering questions, some of the impromptu speaking some of the impromptu situations happen just being on stage, microphones not working, slides not working, noises happening, strange events. There was one contest that I was in where they bring us out one by one so the other contestants can't hear the question. I was the first on stage. I answered my question. I must say it was brilliant. It was beautiful. It was flowing. And audience applauded. I went off stage, went back, and suddenly there was commotion. One of the contestants overheard the question and had the integrity to admit it. And so they were scrambling to figure out what to do. And they said, look, we know you already went. Would you be willing to go again with a new question? And I was like, oh, I knew I nailed this. But I said, you know what? This is the unexpected. This is what's happening now. Of course, let's do this. This is all in good fun. So I went back on stage and they asked me another question. And again, D, disturbed. I started with, I feel like this is deja vu. Haven't I been here before? And the audience started laughing because they knew that I had just been on stage, asked and answered a question. Right. And I brought attention and I made them see that I was okay. So then they had permission to breathe and be okay. And so just going with it.
Great story. So Margie, we have Katrine who's happy to play. So she only has 5 minutes and she needs to step out, but let's get going with Katrine then.
Okay, Katrina, let's see, I'm gonna ask you a question. You're gonna use the DARE system, okay? Disturb, address, respond, explain, and summarize. Let's see, pick a number from 1 to 365, and I'm gonna ask you a question.
365.
365. Let's see what Katrina wins. Your question is, what do you usually think about on your drive home from work?
Wow, look at that. It's so beautiful. Have you seen the mountains? The sun coming down? It's so quiet. Well, you see, this is exactly what I think. And I see when I drive home, because I'm lucky to live in Switzerland, where we have mountains and lakes and beautiful surrounding. And this is also why I do what I do in life. Because we tend to forget what is important in our lives. We rush through life, we run, we work, we're in front of those computers, on the phone, always in the run. We forget to slow down, breathe, and watch. Today, that's what I want to tell you. I'm going to show you how to slow down, how to take care of yourself in order to live a healthy and fulfilling life. Why? Because one day I had someone telling me, sorry, Catherine, you have cancer. And you know, at that time, all my life went crashing down. And I want you to avoid that time. I'm looking for the address. Sorry. So we're going to make it short. I'm going to give you tools how to slow down. I'm going to show you the path. And I'm trying to give you the E and I don't know what to say. And then summarize. I'm going to show you how to slow down, give you some tricks and tools. And at the end of that speech, we will, of that webinar, you will get out with knowing how to apply it immediately in your life. Is that okay? And I stop there. So I missed the end.
All right, yes. And in the first time you do this, it does seem a little jarring, you know, where you feel like, okay, I did this step, I did this step, I did this step. But the more you do it, the more it actually becomes a very natural way of conversing and being present and you're going to get more and more relaxed as you do. You did a great job. Yeah. And you started us out, you drew us in, you know, disturbed us a bit by going, wow, look at this. And that was really nice. And we were all like, ooh, what is she looking at? Immediately. So remember to address your audience if possible.
Yeah.
And just, it could be a quick one-liner, you know, chairman of the board, whatever, ladies and gentlemen.
Okay. Yeah.
Just let us know who you're speaking to.
Oh, yeah.
Yes. And then you did answer the question. You responded about what you're looking at on your drive. Your explanation, you want to do your best to support that question with your explanations.
Yes.
Yeah, and that can be tricky. And that's, again, part of the impromptu practicing, where you can prepare for the unexpected.
Mm-hmm.
Learning facts, figures, quotes, remembering stories that you know about your life or stories you heard. We all hear stories growing up. People love stories.
Yeah.
And so you could actually use a miniature story to explain your fact. For example, you did talk about one about finding out you had cancer. And you could, and so that's a story that is a very powerful one. You could say something like, I remember on the drive home thinking about that fateful call. Mm-hmm. But it was the pleasure of the mountains and the serenity around me that kept me centered and focused. Yeah. That life is still happening for me. You know, something like, so you want to always tie it back.
Yes.
Answer. And then you summarize. You got it. You got it. Thank you, Catherine.
Okay. Thank you. I have to go. Thank you so much. I learned something powerful. Thank you so much. You take care. Bye.
Bye, Catherine. Would anybody else like to give it a shot? Answer a question? This is all playground. Roger, thank you.
I'll be a gentleman and step up.
All right. Pick a number.
111.
111. I like that number. Let's see. 111. When you help someone, do you ever think, what's in it for me?
Sorry, you broke up a little bit there, Marjorie. What was the question again, please?
When you help someone, do you ever think, what's in it for me?
What's in it for me? How often do we ask ourselves that question? I personally have a very wise lady mentor, originally from Germany, currently living in Vienna, who often reminds me that I need to ask myself the question, what's in it for me? I am a very giving, very philanthropic person, but I believe it was Oprah that said, you're unable to pour from an empty cup. And the mentor I spoke of often needs to remind me of that very fact. It may not always be appreciated when it lands, but it is always coming to me from a place of service and a place of love, which I do thoroughly appreciate. So I'd just like to ask you today, members of the audience, how often do you ask yourself, what's in it for me? We've all heard the analogies about putting on your own oxygen mask before putting those on for young people and those depending on you, but how often in real life do we actually apply that? So there I've given you my own answer in response to the question of, when helping others, do I ever think about what's in it for me? I've given you a couple of examples there as to how that could be relevant. So I'd just like, in summary, to ask you to take a moment to reflect on your lives and see how that resonates with you. Thank you.
Awesome. Roger. Thank you so much. Beautiful job. You definitely answered the question that was asked, so you were listening. On and off stage, people appreciate being listened to. And that is shown when we actually answer their question, that we're actually listening to them, that we're hearing them. You definitely address the audience. And again, it doesn't have to be a long drawn, you said members of the audience. That was it. We know you were talking to us. You did summarize very well, and you gave examples to support your answer, which was great. My only suggestion would possibly be to come out a bit stronger on the disturb us. You know, don't be afraid to just show up and just be like, boom, you know, and instead of repeating the question, what's in it for me, like start it out with something that comes to mind. One thing that I've learned to do for myself is, and it's a little bit interesting, when we hear a question, there's something that immediately pops into our head, always. It could have nothing to do with the question. It could be an image. It could be something really weird. What I've learned, and it helps it be really interesting, is to go with that first thought. And if I asked the question, if somebody asked me a question, what's in it for me? And the first thing I thought of was a picture of a cat, right? And I'm just like, so they started out with, every morning I'm up at 5 a.m. feeding my cat. And I'm thinking, why am I doing this? What's in it for me? Yeah. And so now it doesn't even have to be true. I don't even have a cat, you know? But if the picture of a cat came to mind first, for example, that's something that I could use to kind of disturb or to open it up. You understand that kind of?
Absolutely, yeah. That's a great idea. I will certainly adopt that moving forward. Thank you very much, Marjorie.
Yeah, my pleasure. And you have a very nice, easy tone, and you float very, very well. And so, yeah, you're a natural impromptu speaker. So
Thank you very much indeed.
Yes. Would anybody else like to play? We got some time. Who would like to try a question? It's fun and it's a nice, safe environment. Do you have any, can you see Monique who wants to try?
Yeah, anyone that would like to try, just unmute yourself and jump in, okay? And just in terms of time, Marjorie, do you just want to keep playing, or is there something else you'd like to share with us today?
Well, until somebody else wants to be courageous and dare to answer an impromptu question. Yeah, it's not also just about answering questions. Sometimes when we're on stage, other things happen as well. And using those things instead of being afraid of them also helps us to be much more professional on stage and much more relaxed. There was one workshop and speech I gave where the music on my slide changes was not working. And it was tested beforehand, it was working, but suddenly I'm there in front of an audience, there's 200 people, there's no music coming where on the cues where I needed the music. So instead of panicking or focusing on the slides that weren't working, I said, all right, music slides aren't working. You know what we're gonna do? We're gonna sing. Everybody knows the words to this song. Don't everybody stand up. Let's sing. I don't care how bad your voice is, how great your voice is. Let's blend it. Let's have some fun. And the audience stood up and started singing together. And it was awesome. And it was a lot of fun. And they were laughing. I was laughing. And we completely enjoyed it. So every time the transition pause slide came up where music was supposed to be playing, they all automatically stood up and started singing a song at the top of their lungs, which was pretty cool. So that's, again, when we're on stage, playing around and just being kids and having fun with whatever happens, incorporating it. There was one talk that I was giving in front of a live audience, and it was being recorded. And all of a sudden there are fire trucks going past outside, and you can hear it very loudly over me talking in the recording and everything else. And I just went with it. And so I said something like, and then suddenly it could feel like an emergency in your life, and you could hear like fire trucks and blaring in your ears. Oh wait, I do hear it. Oh my God, you know? And they started laughing, and I continued on. So again, we don't have to be disturbed by things that are happening unexpected. I've been in situations where I may be at a crucial point with the audience and somebody's cell phone starts ringing. And instead of flipping it off, they actually answered it. And like, hello? Yes. And so again, instead of getting upset or annoyed or being thrown off by it, or ignoring it because it can't be ignored, it's happening. I think I said something like, and then life calls. And clearly life is calling for him right now. Let's all listen in, shall we? You know? And then he was like, oh, I gotta go. And I'm like, whew, okay, life called, but she said everything is okay. And then I continued on. You know, so I didn't make the person feel ostracized or upset. I didn't let it disturb my flow, and I went right back into what I was doing. So you can use it, you can play with it. One of the things I've done also is I've studied comedians. Stand-up comedians are amazing when it comes to the unexpected, because the way what humor does is it takes us in somewhere where we don't expect it. And also, a lot of comedians interact one-on-one with audiences and don't know what they're going to say. So if you go on YouTube or on any kind of Netflix or whatever and watch stand-up comedians, they're great fodder for learning and for being really comfortable with the unexpected on stage and seeing how they flow from one topic to another and then back into their topic. Because what happens with the unexpected is basically there's something interjected where we didn't expect. And comedians are really good at taking that interjection and making it look like a flow. So Monique, you want to play?
I'm always up for playing, sure. And then everyone else that wants to play and wants to have a go on this, please just put your name in here in the chat so we know you want to play, or just unmute yourself. Good.
Yeah. Give me a number. What's a number you like?
44.
44. That's one of my numbers too. That's my favorite. All right, 44. Okay. And this is just a show. It doesn't always have to be a fun question either. Or it could be how you play with it. Is stealing to feed a starving child wrong?
I'm not sure I understand.
Yeah. Is stealing to feed a starving child wrong?
Is stealing a what?
Is stealing, like stealing food?
Stealing something, yeah.
To feed a starving child wrong?
Oh, is stealing to give a starving child food wrong? Is that what you're saying? Or is it wrong for the child? Sorry, the question is not clear to me. Oh, sorry, it was a little bit interrupted for a second. Okay, so is stealing to feed a starving child wrong? Is that what it is? Okay. Sorry, sometimes the questions are not very easy to understand. What do you do with that? You ask again. Okay.
Yes, exactly.
Okay, everyone. Hand on heart. Have you ever stolen anything? Have you? Have you ever taken something you knew it wasn't yours? And then what is stealing in the first place anyhow? Like, for example, you walk down the street and you find a $20 bill. Do you pick it up and keep it? Is that stealing? You walk by a garden and there's the juiciest apple tree growing fruit, and all the branches are hanging over the fence. You pick one up and you enjoy it. Is that stealing? Well, I could give you a lot of other examples and situations where in our life we do take something, keep it, and we don't consider it stealing. So where does honesty end and stealing start? I can tell you, I'm the most honest skin on the planet, and I got it from my mother. I remember one situation where my mother was walking down the street and she found actually a 50-euro bill. And you know what she did is? She looked around, she walked into the next shop and she said, you know what? I just found this 50-euro bill. It might have been lost by someone walking by. Would you mind keeping it? And if that person comes in and is asking if someone found it, would you mind giving it back? That is my mother. I was raised by my parents. I was raised by my mother. I'm the most honest person on the planet. However, you asked the question, is stealing to feed a starving child stealing? Well, it depends on the situation. There's no clear yes or no for me. If you do have money and you could buy food for that starving child, there's no need for stealing. Why would you? If you walk by an apple tree with juicy apples and you know it's not your tree and it's your garden, but you know that at the end of your road, there is this place that supports starving children, and you pick up some apples and maybe even pick some from the tree, and you bring them to these kids. Is that stealing? Well, I'm not a judge of the situation. I know what I would do. But honestly, I'd like you to tell me, what would you do in that situation?
Wonderful.
Making things up.
Excellent. So how did you feel going through the process?
Honestly, I didn't keep your structure in mind so much. Okay. Apart from there was this one thing that you said, always answer the question.
Yeah.
And at some point I was going through the speech, I realized I haven't answered her question.
Yeah.
So I came back and wove that in, right?
Yeah.
But you and I, Margie, we have a lot of experience with impromptu speaking, right? I mean, I've won the German contest of impromptu speaking once, right, at European level. So I'm not saying there is, I'm the expert. I think that impromptu speaking and really dealing with the unexpected and finding an answer is something that each and every one of you here in the call right now and everyone that's part of our community, when we practice that, there's no end. We can keep practicing forever. So I'm curious to hear your feedback on what could I have done to make it even better, and what have I done in a good way?
Yes, sure. And again, you did, I caught that, and you caught yourself, which is wonderful. You were like, okay, I didn't answer the question, and you went back and you answered the question. But what was nice is you weaved it into what you already said. And so you didn't backtrack, you continued forward. And as speakers, we want to always stay in flow. And that's what you did. You did that beautifully. And so and you did start out disturbing us. You said, have you ever stolen anything? That immediately disturbs people because, like, we've all been guilty of something, from even as a child at some point. Somebody took something that they knew they wasn't theirs. And so that immediately goes, and it gets our attention. So you did that really well. And again, it doesn't have to be a big thing. You said you, and you did address us. And you responded, you gave examples, and you did summarize. So you actually did follow all of the points. And you also showed something. They don't necessarily, it flows nicely in that order, but it doesn't necessarily have to stay in that order. But you did do it in that order. And the only thing you had shifted was you gave some examples and then answered the question. But again, you addressed why, and then you went back into more examples. So it still flowed just very beautifully. And we can play around with this. It's not a strict structure, but it's something that works. And you're gonna find different things that work a little bit better for you as you practice more and more. When I was in court, as an attorney, we are taught never ask anybody on the stand a question you don't know the answer to. However, every attorney has had this experience. You're sitting there, the jury is all looking, eyes on you. The judge is there in the big black robe on the big scary bench. And there I am, the attorney. And I've prepped even it could be my own witness. I've prepped them. I've gone over their question and answer. I've checked their facts. And I asked the question. So, Mr. Smith, what did you see when you opened the door? Now, I expect, because Mr. Smith has told me 1,000 times that he saw when he opened the door, he saw this person standing there, holding a gun, looking menacing and threatening this person. And he's gone over it. He can't get it out of his head. He's painted a picture for me. I have a compelling witness. I'm ready. And Mr. Smith says in response to my question, what door? I didn't open the door. And suddenly, if you don't know how to deal with these unexpected, my whole case could tank. And so I said, okay, let me redirect you back to the door, the red door on November 15th. Do you remember that door? Oh yeah, I remember that door. Did you open that door when you saw it? Oh yes, I did. Okay, let's take you back. Open that door. What did you see? And then I let him paint the picture and I walk him through it. And so instead of being thrown by my key witness suddenly saying, oh, I wasn't there. You have to, again, stay in flow and redirect and play with it. So even off stage, these tools are very, very helpful. So yeah, Monique, you did a great job. You did answer the question, you flowed with it, you disturbed us, you summarized, and you did it very succinctly. And again, as you saw, she gave a compelling story, she touched our heartstrings. All these things are really, really wonderful tools of speakers. Yes. Do we have any questions before we have about 10 more minutes? Do we have any questions or anybody else want to play?
Any questions that are coming up for you? I didn't know a lot of you that are here with us today. You're running your own business. You're an expert. You're a speaker. You're out there. What questions do you have around what's coming up for you? Like Marjorie shared how she in the courtroom was actually, often enough hit by the unexpected despite massive preparation. What kind of messages are you all getting? And maybe just share with us. What are some of the things, even in a negotiation? I mean, I didn't know about all of you. I assume every one of you is sometimes selling something, right? Being an entrepreneur. Objection handling is the perfect situation, right? So you're in a sales conversation and you think like, oh yeah, that person really wants to work with me. And then there's suddenly this question, or there's suddenly this, whatever they're saying, I don't have the time, I don't have the money, or anything like that, right? That is hitting you off guard in that moment where you don't know what the answer is, right? So impromptu speaking and meeting the unexpected is very much related to these kind of situations in business as well, right? It's not only on stage, it's also in business. So any one of you that ever had the feeling like you didn't know how to answer the client's questions, please share them here, because Marjorie and I can help you with it, okay? So, and I guess that none of you is shy because you're all speakers, so I guess you're all happy to speak up and take the stage. So either type your questions into the chat or unmute yourself and play with us this way, okay? So while everyone is thinking about if they should actually still ask a question, Marjorie, do you want to do a little bit of a summary on your side?
I have a short question.
Oh yeah, please, go ahead.
So I would like to know, what would you do if you would get lost? Like you're starting to say something and like you black out, or yeah, you just get lost in some way. What would you do?
Yeah, that happens to all of us as well, on stage and in life. And again, I go back to, it is okay to be silent. It is okay to pause. It is okay to think. And we don't have to keep going on and on and on and on, especially if we black out for a moment. It happens to all of us. And you don't even have to address it. I've heard speakers go, well, what was I saying again? I forget. We don't have to even acknowledge the fact that it's happening, because the audience honestly doesn't know, and unless we tell them. And so it could be as simple as, let's say I'm talking about, I don't know, this is how you sew a dress. And I start talking about the steps in sewing a dress and how I get the material and make it. And then all of a sudden my mind goes blank and I forget step 3. And I go, and I can see that there's nothing there. The only thing I can think of is pause, take a breath, smile. And sometimes that very act of taking in oxygen, taking a breath and pausing will help your thoughts to come back. And if they don't, you could actually shift. Again, go into flow. Say, you know what, we're gonna pause from here for a moment and I'm gonna talk a little bit about this. And you could talk about something else for a moment that is related, not just, anything, something else related. Is that I'm gonna pause for a minute and talk about material selection. So when you're picking out a dress pattern, it's okay to select cottons, but you may prefer wool, and this is why. And so you may actually use that moment to shift into a related topic. And what'll happen is, because you're relaxed, because you're breathing, because you're still talking about the topic, often our thoughts will come back, and then we can just go right back into it. And so this is one good way to take us into step 3 of selecting, of making a dress, and then you'll continue on. Does that help?
Yes, thank you.
And also, if it's a question someone is asking, just to cut a little bit of time, you can always just repeat the question in a very slow way, right?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Or you could do what Roger did, right? Roger also, you repeated the question, right? So, or you could also honor, as like what you were saying, Margie, right? If you don't know, one thing is breathing, the other is move in the room, right? Mm-hmm. So, because again, when people see that you're thinking, they feel like you honor them, you honor their question, you take it seriously to give them like a really, really good answer. So, often enough, it's us as speakers, we feel uncomfortable with a short break, right? We always want things to happen. But as Margie is saying, let's get uncomfortable with quiet moments. So you could actually even take the question and walk the room a little bit while you think about the answer, right? Or another great thing is you could give the question back to the audience, right? You could ask the audience, so what would you say? I share with you in a minute what I think and how I would approach it, but what would you say? So you can engage the audience. So there's so many ways when you get lost, you know, to you know, get the train of thought again, you know, of what you can do. And there's a lot of other things as well that make sure that you're not losing your 3 points, right? So there's also speaking techniques, but hopefully that's helpful. Good, Margie. Looking at it's almost our hour is almost up. Do you want to give a quick round off? And everyone else that still has an urgent question, please type it in here, and also afterwards we can answer them within our community as well. Okay, but if there's still something striking you want to have answered now, please type it in now. Apart from that, I think we should start rounding things off, Margie. Is that okay?
Yes, absolutely. I'm going to end with saying, be daring with your life. Dare to disturb the calm. Open your mouth, use your voice, show up. It's your stage. Life is your stage. Ladies and gentlemen, this is your time to respond to the unexpected on stage and in life, because you have the answers. You know so much. You have life experiences. You have other people's life experiences. And you are creative, beautiful, intelligent, amazing people. So use all of that in daring to live the unexpected life, on stage and off. I'm so excited to live this journey with you. Thank you.
Amazing, Margie. What a powerful, you know, message to share with everyone at the end of it. So I hope all of you enjoyed this session together. And there's still a few more announcements, so don't just run off just yet. But also, Margie, I want to give everyone the opportunity that wants to learn more from you, you know, connect with you personally. Where would they go? Where would they find you?
Sure. Please connect with me on Facebook. It's my name, Marjorie Simon-Meinefeld, as you see there. Find me on Facebook. Connect with me on Instagram, Marja Speaks. I would love to connect with you and see what you're all doing as well, and continue this journey of our amazing speaking experiences.
Beautiful. Great. Okay. Amazing. And as we are going through a time of the unexpected right now, you can actually practice every day, right? And still, there's something that I wanted to share with you, because we here from the My Speaker Business community are really thinking about how can we support you best. So there will be a webinar, a separate time for us to get together to have a conversation about what is actually happening right now in the world of speaking and business owners in these times, and how can we actually step up right now and not withdraw, not take a break, but rather step up and support in the most powerful way. And what are ways of us to share our message and voice in a more powerful way than ever before right now, where it's most needed. And so keep an eye out on our My Speaker Business community. You're going to have a call, a separate call, a separate exchange on that topic specifically. And as we are speakers, and I love to speak myself, but I also love to give the stage to you, amazing speakers with amazing messages, like Margie and then Roger, and a couple of you were with us in London at the Women Economic Forum in November, right? And there's also a lot of virtual stages where we can give you a stage on to share your message in a more powerful way. And I'm actually cooking up something right now to really give more people the stage online at this very point of time. So if you want to share your message in a more powerful way, just also now in the chat, you have the opportunity to, you know, to just send me a private message with your email address, or share it with everyone if you feel open to do that. If you want to have a more online stage time opportunity right now, I'd love to hear from you. I'd love to hear what is your message and how can we help you get your message out there in a more powerful way. And as I said, I'm cooking up something right now to share more people's messages online and to provide speaking opportunities online for people like you. So if you are interested in doing that, please send me a personal message right here in the chat. Send me your private message on with your email address so I can reach out to you. And you know, again, I love you to get your voice out there in a more powerful way online, because it's needed. Everyone is right now, a lot of people are right now, not everyone, but a lot of people are right now sitting at home. And what do? They take the phone or they switch on the computer and they actually are looking for inspiring messages. And I feel it's our responsibility as speakers to share our message in a more powerful way right now. So if you're interested in getting involved in that, please share with me your email address so I reach out to you and we can have a conversation about how can we spread your message online in a more powerful way. And yeah, and again, Marjorie, thank you so much for being with us today, okay, for sharing your wisdom, your experience, and it's a very, very powerful tool that I invite all of you to really practice so that you become more magnetic as entrepreneurs, so you can actually close more successfully sales conversations. You get the financial investment you want when you're in discussion with investors or anything else you're doing. Because again, no matter what conversations you have, there will be the unexpected happening. Wherever you step onto stages, there will be the unexpected happening. And now is the perfect time to practice, to get prepared, and to learn how to deal with that, and actually even use it to your advantage as a speaker and as an entrepreneur. Okay. So yeah, so also Arnab is actually making a suggestion. I think that's a great suggestion. Anyone that's not connected on LinkedIn yet, but would love to have more LinkedIn connections, why don't you all just share your LinkedIn link right here, right now, so we can reach out to each other and connect with each other. Arnab, that's a really great suggestion. So I close the recording. Again, if you want to watch this again and practice and tap into Marjorie's concept again, we will share that in the next couple of days in our amazing Hall of Fame, okay, on our My Speaker Business website, where you will find a lot of recordings from amazing speakers just like Marjorie that you can tap into. So yeah, thanks Marjorie for being with us today. And next month, we're going to have another incredible expert guest. And in the meantime, let's stay together, stick our heads and hearts together on our My Speaker Business community. We are here, we are supporting you, and I think we are supporting each other to step up in these unexpected times. Okay, thank you everyone for being with us. Have a great one, and we will be in touch. And again, before you're sneaking out, I just stopped the recording, but share with us your LinkedIn link if you like to have a few more speaking friends to connect with. Okay.